Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another 3D Rust tutorial. Today I'm going to go over the basics of blueprinting in Unreal Engine 4. So to start off with, I'm going to go over the level blueprint. The level blueprint controls all the code for the current level. So if we just go up to blueprints up at the top and open level blueprint. Now you're given a blank blueprint sheet. Here this is where you add your code in for the level. You do all sorts with blueprints, but I'm just going to show you some basic things you can do just to give you an idea. And then once you finish watching this video, I challenge you to go off on your own and see what you'd find out how to do. So really the greatest thing with blueprints is you can just somewhat search in this box what you want. You'll be able to figure it out. So I want the game to do something when I press a key. So just for tutorial purposes, I'm going to use the J key, so I'm just going to type in J and then key next to it. And then there it is. So I'm just going to click on that. To get up this search box, by the way, you just right click and then you type in there. If what you want doesn't come up at first, just untick this context sensitive and you'll get more options. So once we press the J key, I'm going to print a little message on the screen. So I'm just going to drag off press by holding left click and then let go. I'm going to type in print string. Just type in print and then print string there. Just going to left click that. So the default string is hello. A string is just a string of characters. How I think about it is like a birthday banner. All the letters are stringed together. So a string is just basic text. So you just type in this box whatever you want. So I'm just going to type in, I'll just leave it as hello for now. So if we click compile at the top, this just makes sure our code's alright and bug free. And then we'll hit save. Now if we go back to the first person example map, if you don't see this by the way because the level blueprint's opened in another window, just hold left click on this tab and then drag it into there. So now if we play the game and I press the J key, we'll get a little message in the top left saying hello. So this is the print string is generally used for just development purposes, as it is here, development only. So this is just to debug your game. So say if we wanted the player to shoot a bullet, you'll have the button you want to press and then the code for shooting a bullet. And then you might have print string at the end just to make sure that that section of the code has been called. Because if the print string doesn't come up, that means there's an error definitely somewhere in your code and it's not continuing along the line. So what practical thing can you do? So if you select an object and you're seeing, let's say, this cube, if you go with it selected, if you go to the level blueprint and you right click, with context sensitive on, you'll see you get these options here and you can create a reference to that cube. And basically a reference lets you gather information from the cube or send information to the cube. It just lets the game know what object we're talking about. So I'm just going to create a reference to this cube. So what could we do with this cube? So we can get information from the cube like I said before. So if we just right click and type in get actor transform, this will just get the location of that actor. And as you can see, if the blueprint code requires a target, it'll automatically add the target on. If not, you can just right click and create a reference and drag it in. But because we had the cube selected, it's automatically connected that target. So the return value, I'm just going to add it to our print string. Although it's not a string, when we try and connect it together, it will convert it into a string of characters. So if we hit compile and save, and now we press play the game, press J, it tells you the location, rotation and scale of that cube. And if I keep pressing J and I move the cube by shooting it, you can see the location changes and the rotation as the cube moves. So that's how I can get information from an object in the scene. So if I just delete this get transform and delete this print string, I'm going to do something else. So what we can do is we can change the material of that target object. So if I right click again and type in set material and then find set material in this library here. If you don't see what you want, just untick context sensitive, and there it is, set material. So when we press J, I want to change the material, so we're just going to hook these up together. And our target, the object we want to change the material, is our cube. So it's just added this in because it's changed it from the whole object just to the static mesh, so the physical object. Because if we select an object that's got blueprints and all that connected to it, we don't want that for this case. So it's just bringing it back down to a static mesh object. So the material here, this is where we can select the material. So if I just click select asset and scroll down and say brick material, I'm just going to go with the first person projectile material. So this should change the cube to yellow. Compile, save. And now if we play and hit J, changes our cube to like a yellowy orangey colour, because that was the material we connected in the blueprints. So another thing that you need to learn in blueprints, which is handy, is variables. Variables is something that can vary or change. So a number can be a variable, like your age, or true or false, is the light switch on or not? That is a variable. So if I create a variable, as you can see in the top right in the details panel, it's got variable type, Boolean. A Boolean is true or false, on or off. But you can see we've got all these other options when you bring the drop down. So the most common is an integer, which is a whole number, a float, which is a number, but it can have decimals as well, it's not a whole number, a string, which is just a string of text, a vector, which has got location data. So I'm just going to create a Boolean, and I'm going to call this orange question mark. And if we compile it, we've got this orange value, and I'm just going to leave it off because our cube's not orange when we start the game. So now we can just drag this orange in, and we can say set or get. I'm just going to get orange in this case. So this is our orange value, yes or no. So now if I hit B and left click, or right click and type in branch, we'll get a branch. And if a condition is true, it can do one thing. If it's false, it can do another thing. So I'm going to have it. So when we press J, check if orange is true. If orange is true, we're going to set a material again. So I'm just going to copy and paste this set material. It's got the same target, but I'm going to change the material to a base material. So if the cube is orange, change it to base material. If it's not orange, let's make it orange. So if we compile and save this, and we'll go and play our game again, when we press J, the cube changed to orange. But when we press J again, oops, sorry, I forgot something. So what we need to do is, once the cube is orange, we'll want to set orange to true, because the cube is now orange. And when the cube is orange, we'll change it back to a different material. So the cube is not orange. So you just drag orange in, set, and now it's no longer orange. So when we compile and save, when we press J, the cube's orange. When we press J again, it's not. So we just keep pressing it orange, not orange, orange, not orange. So if you break this down, it's quite simple. So all we're doing is pressing J, and then if the cube is orange, yeah, we'll want to change it so it's not orange. If the cube is not orange, then we'll make it orange, so we'll flick back and forwards. And then we just have to tell the program if it's orange or not. So if we've just changed it to orange, the cube's now orange. If we changed it to something else, the cube is not orange. So this could be used in many instances depending on what you're doing, but this is just a quick example of how you can use booleans to check if something's true and change the material. So that's the end of this tutorial, but if you want more Unreal Engine tutorials, I suggest you check out my Unreal Engine playlist just to learn the basics of Unreal Engine and learn something new. If you found this tutorial helpful, give it a like and consider subscribing to 3D Ross on YouTube. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.